Welcome back to our Columbia University interview series. Today we are here with Prime Minister Haas in Liechtenstein. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
And let's jump right in. Firstly, focusing on Liechtenstein's role in Europe. In May, you just celebrated Liechtenstein's 30-year anniversary of the membership in the European Economic Area. And with new potential EU member states and membership developments in other EEA states, you highlighted the need for Liechtenstein to constantly assess the role in Europe. So what is Liechtenstein's role in Europe today?
Well, Liechtenstein is, I think we have quite a role for being such a small country, because we are really reliable. We are a stable country. We have a lot to give to other countries. And this is, according to our smallness, maybe I can say, quite a lot. Because I think that we are in a quite a highly level seen as an industrial country. Not many people do know that, because we are, of course, well known as a good and reliable financial industry, but our really industry, manufacturing industry, is very high. So this is why we have a stability. We have a stability also in our kind of government that we have as a state. And this makes us a reliable partner for a lot of countries. And in this world that we have, reliability is extremely, on high level, is extremely important, I think.
And this year, Liechtenstein is also the co-president of the EU strategy for the Alpine region, together with Austria. What are your priorities in this particular forum?
I think the Alpine region is a very important region, because the countries that live all around the Alpine regions, they're highly developed. They are countries that want to do something for all the other regions that might not be as developed. And the Alps is we like to work. That's what we say here. We have every one of us wants to have the power to bring their countries forward, and also to bring the Alpine region forward. And of course, there is, seen to the climate change, for instance, when you take that part of it, it is very important that we have a broad look what we can do together to get our Alps quite secure, to get the region kind of strong, not only economically, but also according to the environment. And this is what we can do together. And I know that it is not really easy, because there is no easy solution, but this is why we keep on doing it in a strong combination of the countries that are all around the Alps.
And you already previously mentioned, of course, the factor that Liechtenstein is very proud of, and as it is at the core of Liechtenstein, is the stability. And Liechtenstein, quite recently in 2019, celebrated its 300th anniversary. There's a big anniversary coming up in the US also. Given the global uncertainties we see today, what is the value proposition of stability in today's uncertain world?
I think stability is important politically and economically. And when you see which countries are the ones that succeed, are the ones that people like to live in, are the ones that succeed also in a economically way, these are the countries that live stability and try to be in a stable world, try to be constructive with its neighbor, try to keep on to the contracts they made. And I think especially for a small country, it is even more important to have stability for the people who live in, because we are kind of in a world that we are not the strong ones, that we have to cope with everything that is all around us. And stability doesn't mean no flexibility. We have to be stable and we have to be flexible. It's like, I don't know how you call the bamboo, I think. It's very stable, but it's also flexible. And this is, I think, a picture that I like to draw for Liechtenstein. And when you see which countries have most troubles in the world, these are the countries that there is no political stability, and they are the ones who have really the need for stability. And I think if you put the question the other way around, you see quite well what the advantages are.
And you've now been in office for some days, more than 100 days. And a major focus of your administration is also sound economic, financial, and budgetary policy. And one of the priorities in this field is the digitization roadmap, also cybersecurity for Liechtenstein. Could you tell us about your economic policy for Liechtenstein and which role digitization plays in this policy?
The economical policy is that we, as a government, we give the frame and let the economy work. So this is what we think is a good separation. We just give the frame. It is very important that our economy tells us, let us work. They don't come and want a lot of subsidies. This is important for us as a state. We give them the frame and they do what they find is most important for them. And this is kind of a success story because our companies are really used to be out in a strong wind, sometimes in a storm, and they are used to react. Nobody's waiting for a company from Liechtenstein, for instance. But they do such a good job that they are really, really well doing all over the world. And this is why we say, we as a government, we give the framework and this is stability. That's what the economy needs, and they do what they can best. So this is an important thing, that we are able to get our country done, keep going. And the digitalization is very important. We do have in our government, we do have digitalization compartments, for instance, that are trying to do best what comes from government, what comes for everything around us. But the other thing, that's what our companies do for themselves. They are very innovative. They have to be innovative. And innovation is one of the points that Liechtenstein is very well known for. So we do have a high R&D level we are really proud of, but it's the companies themselves. And then we do have a university, and they cope with the university too. They work together with the university in a field of AI, for instance, and they try to find out where can we do our best, but in a very hands-on way, I think. And this is what makes our region. We are trying to be pragmatic, trying to be flexible and stable at the same time.
And something that you also mentioned before is that people mostly associate Liechtenstein's economy with the financial center and not necessarily with the industry around it. So what is something that you'd like to highlight about the economic composition, and also where do you see the economy headed in the next years?
Well, nowadays, and it's been many years now, Liechtenstein is one of the highest industrialized countries in the world. When you have a look at the people who work in the industry, in the manufacturing industry, it's more than 36%. So if you compare it to Germany, for instance, I think there is 24%. And Germany is one of the high industrialized countries. So we are really proud of it. But we are more known for the financial industry. But I always have to say, just focus on what we really are. We do have a strong financial industry, and we are really proud of that too, of course, because they are doing a good job. We have a lot of regulation, and in the last years, we really were on our way to be one of the most stable and one of the most proper kind of financial industries here, or financial place here in Liechtenstein. But still, the industry, the manufacturing industry, is what we are proud of too. And we know that through AI, through the digitalization, a lot of things change. And we know that maybe in a 10 or 20 years' time, I think that the now normal industry will change, but I think it's not gone. Because we are good in innovation, we're good in changes, and I think that we and our companies trying to cope with it and trying to do our best that all the people here in Liechtenstein have the chance to work, and not everyone is in a highest level, but we also want to do something for the people that really like to work with their hands, and we do want to have the whole chain of work still here. But I know it's going to change, and we will see.
And looking at societal policy, one policy area that most foreigners might not have been aware of in Liechtenstein is the law on religious communities. That's also been important and debated, and it makes up a major part of the public debate also in Liechtenstein. And of course, Cardinal Prevost back then, now Pope Leo, was personally involved in those discussions with Liechtenstein and is deeply aware of Liechtenstein's issues and priorities. Could you tell us about this law and why it is so important for Liechtenstein?
In Liechtenstein's constitution, the Roman Catholic Church is still in the constitution. And I think the majority of the people who live in Liechtenstein is not against it, because it's a kind not only of a tradition, but it kind of belongs to us. And the law that you talk about is going to be developed in a broader sense, I guess, because of course there are other religions, people with other religions here in Liechtenstein, but it's on its way. So we have a new government, and the last government, that they were on their way too, because we saw that we don't have our Archbishop yet. I had the chance to meet Pope Leo in his, at the occasion of his inauguration, and I know that it will go on, but because of his change, of course, it's not as fast as we would like to have it. But we know that it is something that the Catholic Church is going on with, that we do have an Archbishop, and we don't want to do the legislation without the new person that is coming or is going to come.
And another question that I'm aware of is mainly mentioned to you by interviewers from abroad is your role as the first female Prime Minister of Liechtenstein. And just 41 years ago, you yourself witnessed that women gained the right to vote in Liechtenstein. And what does this milestone mean to you? What does it mean for Liechtenstein? And what does it mean for your policies on universal inclusion in all areas?
Well, I'm quite proud to be the first woman, of course. And as you know, my deputy prime minister is a woman too. So we are one of the maybe rare countries in the world that are led by two women. So it is something to be proud of. But, so there is the but. I think it should be normal, because men and women are equal. So I know that equality is not everywhere in the world, and it's not everywhere in Liechtenstein, but we are really on a high level. And here in Liechtenstein, we don't want to go further on with that discussion, because we say we are here, so it's normal, let's do it. So, and this is what is really important here in our country. But of course, when I see a lot of other countries where women are not equal, then there is a lot to do all over the world. But we can't do it just as women. We have to do it together, women and men. We have to do it together to develop the equality throughout the world. And there's a lot to do.
And before becoming Prime Minister, you were the head of the Liechtenstein Chamber of Commerce and Industry. How has your previous experience shaped your style of politics, and how has it influenced your assessment that Zuversicht, optimism, is the essential attitude for a politician?
Yeah. It's a good question, because especially the last one, because I have never thought about it. But the Zuversicht, the optimism is something that really is what led me not only through my former position, but through all my life, I think. And I think Zuversicht means just look at the future and try to make as good as you can make it bright. And it's not only my future, it's the future of all the people around me. So I think responsibility is something that led me all through my life. I always wanted to be responsible for my life, of course, and this is something why I stand or sit here. And I always wanted to be responsible that the surrounding of me is going with Zuversicht further in the future. And when, through my former position as in the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, we had so many difficulties in the industry because of, maybe you can remember when the Swiss franc against the euro, when it just, the binding split up, it was kind of, oh, the world is going down for our industry, or Corona, or maybe because we are in the EEA, in the European Economic Area, when the Brexit was going on, and so on. So there were so many difficulties, but all the companies said, let's try to find a way, let's be flexible. The measures were some that they had to take was sometimes quite hard, but it was always with the focus to the kind of bright future. And for a lot of the companies it worked. For some, of course, it was hard, that they had to try to find something else, but this must be the focus. And so I think it's a good question, and I think I learned a lot. And for myself, it gave me a huge rucksack that I can use now. And this is very good for me, because it makes me kind of positive when I see a lot of challenges. I know something is going further on.
In the end, the final question, looking ahead, what are experiences or meetings you have every day that give you Zuversicht?
I think people like you, for instance. There are so many young people, and also elder, of course, that don't just complain, because I think this is the easy way. You complain about the government, you complain about the economy that doesn't give you what you want to have, but I think complaining is not the way. Doing something, trying to find in a positive way, not just my solution, but the solution that might be positive for all. And I think with so many people that I work together, not only with my team, that is a great team, but also with the people that I work together in the associations around me, for instance, and or our society. I think they try to do what is best for, not only for our country, of course it's first, but when we do something that is good for our country, we can also do something for others. And this is what it gives me the Zuversicht that even in a world that is changing a lot, it's going further, it's going on, and it's going into something that makes a development in the right direction.
Thank you so much for taking your time. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for questions, and I wish you all the luck, and I'm really happy that the United States and Liechtenstein are in a good relationship, and also Columbia University.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.